Recording in progress. Okay, now that we are studying for the exam, we are moving past, I'm teaching you new math things, and we are getting to the point like, how can I manipulate stuff? How can I learn how to use a calculator? So I'm going to remind you of vocabulary terms because it's going to be helpful for the test. I'm going to tell you how to use your calculator to do things. I'm going to tell you when it's beneficial to do something on a calculator for the like SAT, ACT, versus this only works on Desmos, so this only works for the EOC. Does that make sense? Some of this stuff, if you want to use this as a test taking strategy for the SAT, Desmos does not work for the SAT because it is internet based. Does that make sense? So us manipulating Desmos does not work outside of North Carolina test taking stuff because Desmos is embedded in the EOC. It is not embedded in other tests. Does that make sense? Okay, so we like Desmos because it's a really nice calculator to use, but we also don't, that's why I did not use Desmos throughout the entire course, because you do not get to use Desmos outside of North Carolina tests. So I still wanted you guys to know how to do everything outside of just this one test that matters. But right now we are studying for this North Carolina test, so we're gonna use Desmos because it's great. All right, so the first problem that we're going to work on together is problem number 3. So they ask us to find the solutions when h of x equals k of x. And the nice thing is, anytime you are looking for solutions when two functions equal each other, you just graph them and you see where they cross. That's all you have to do. Okay, so that is something that works on a graphing calculator. It is something that works on Desmos. It is easier on Desmos because you just click where they cross. It is harder on a graphing calculator where you have to do second trace and then find the intersection. So we're going to graph this on Desmos. So I'm going to go, I don't know where my Desmos screen went. I think it's here. We're going to go to Desmos. And we're going to go to 2, everyone is typing this in, 2/9 x to the 3rd. So to get to the 3rd exponent, you can do Shift 6 to get the little up arrow. Or if you want to type like the way you would type in a calculator, you can do Show Keypad. And then you can do A to the B, and that will let you raise it up and you can type in any exponent you want that way. So you can do this keypad or you can do Shift 6. So 2/9 x to the 3rd. And then we've got 8/9 x squared. And let me know if you have any issue typing anything. So our goal is to get kind of savvy with Desmos before the test. So I've typed in the first function. It looks like this. If you don't like where the function is, you can just hit it with your mouse and kind of move it around. And then when my cursor's at the end, I'm just going to press enter to drop down to a new line. And then type my negative sign. To get those vertical lines in there, I'm going to hit shift, and it's the key above the enter sign on my keyboard. I don't know where it is on your keyboard, but for me, it's the button above the enter sign. On here, I think it's right underneath my green sharing thing. You can also do it in there. So we just want those vertical lines, 0.7x plus 5. And then to find our solutions, we're just clicking where they cross each other. Now, we do have to use our brains a little bit because they said to round to the nearest 10th. What does round to the nearest 10th mean? Yeah, 1 decimal place. So, oh, 100th, sorry, 100th, 2 decimal places. All right, so and when it says solutions of the equation, they want the x value. You're only going to do the y value if they tell you to use the y value. All right, so 3 solutions here. We've got negative 5.18. X equals negative 5.18. X equals Negative 1.13. X equals 1.75. I'm just writing X equals. Here, let me show you. Just like this. Right. Okay, Desmos can even help you do a problem like number 4. So we're going to do number 4 next. So number 4 says, if m of x equals the absolute value of 4 minus x, and p of x equals x plus 2, express t of 3a plus 2. Okay, so t of x, let's go ahead and write this. We've got t of x equals 4 times m of x minus 2 times p of x. So we do have to know a little bit of math when we do this. Let me make this a little bit bigger. We do have to know a little bit of math to do this, but then we can let Desmos do the rest of it for us. We don't have to simplify all of it ourselves because Desmos can do that. So what was the m of x? 4 minus x. Okay, so I'm going to do 4, and then I'm going to do times m of x, which was absolute value of 4 minus x. Okay, and then we've got minus 2, and then what was p of x? Okay, so times, and I'm going to put this in parentheses, x plus 2. Okay, and this is t of x. And now, what are they saying to do? They said t of something. What are they telling you to do? What do they want you to do with the 3a plus 2? Yeah, plug it in. And plug it in for what? Plug it in for x. So for each x we have, we're going to take out the x, and we're going to put 3a plus 2. So I'm going to put 3a plus 2 here, 3a plus 2 here, 3a plus 2 there. Does that make sense? Okay. So for starters, I'm just going to put parentheses where the x's are, and I'm just going to make them kind of big so the 3a plus 2 can fit. So 4 minus parentheses, I'm just going to make the parentheses big enough, minus 2 parentheses plus 2. Okay, you guys see what I did there? How I just gave myself parentheses that were big enough? So I had x in 3 different spots. I had t of x. I had 4, and then the absolute value of 4 minus x. And then I had 2 times x plus 2. Does that make sense? Everyone good so far? Okay, so what do I plug into the parentheses? Okay, so 3a plus 2, 3a plus 2, 3a plus 2. Okay, at this point, I am all mathed out. Are you guys mathed out? That was a lot of math. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get Desmos. So we're going back to Desmos. I'm gonna clear what I've already done. I'm not gonna type in the t of x. I'm gonna type in the right side. So I'm gonna type in 4, and see how when I hit that absolute value sign, it immediately put up the left one and the right one. Does everyone see that? The right one's in light gray. Because Desmos is like, I'm smart. I know you have to do a left and a right. You can't just have a left one. So Desmos is pretty nice about this. So I've got 4 minus 3a plus 2. I'm gonna more on that in a second. Ignore the add slider part. Just don't touch anything. Just let it be. So I got this minus 2, 3a plus 2. Okay, see how I typed everything just like it was written on my paper? Everyone got that? So I'm typing it exactly the way I wrote it on my paper. Okay. Desmos does not like variables that are not X's or Y's. It's uncomfortable with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to these A's. There's 2 of them. I'm going to make that an X. I'm going to make this an X. So it can graph something. Now, the way that you can use Desmos to manipulate to see if an answer is right, because this question says, hey, which answer is the same as yours? Is you can take this is the right answer. And what we're going to do is we're going to graph the answer choices. We're going to see which one lines up with this one perfectly. Okay. And this is going to work for any problem where they say, hey, find the equivalent expression, which is a lot of problems. Anytime they say find the equivalent expression, this method will work. So this is the answer. We know this one is right. Okay, so next I'm going to start typing my answer choices, and I'm just going to take the A out and put an X in instead. So see how with the first answer choice, the blue and green are not on top of each other? You guys see that? So the first answer choice is wrong. That's not it. So right now I'm going to click on this right here. I'm going to click on it, make it go away. That's not the right answer choice. I'm going to go to the next one. 4, 6 minus 3a, I'm putting an X in instead. Minus 6a plus 8. See how it lined up a lot over here, but it didn't line up over here? Everyone see that? So it's, I think that it lined up on part of it. It lined up right here, but it had an extra piece. Everyone see that? So it's like partially close, but that's not the right answer either. So we're going to keep going. I'm going to go to the next one. 4, 3x minus 2 minus 6x plus 8. Okay, you guys see the black and the blue? Those are not the same. That answer is not good either, so it must be the 4th one. Let's just double check. 4, 2 minus 3x minus 6x minus 8. Okay, what do you guys notice? It matches perfectly. I think that's the right answer too. Just a wild guess. Okay, so the correct answer is the 4th one. So what just happened is this problem, we had to know a little bit of math to get there. Now, some problems you will have to know a little bit of math, but some of the problems, you don't even have to do math in the beginning. You just have to type in the original problem, type in the 4 answer choices, match them, you're done. And that strategy can get you through a ton of problems on a test, which is exactly why I never let you guys use Desmos, because you can cheat your way through multiple choice problems really easily. Okay, does that strategy make sense? Yes? Kind of? Okay. Take a moment and I want you guys to try number 9. I'm gonna give you guys some time to try number 9. So for number 9, this first equation is what you get when you figure out what f of x plus 3 is. That's what you get. And I can show you my work. Here's my work. So here's the original equation. And I just took each x and I replaced it with x plus 3, but I didn't do anything else. I just replaced it. Does that make sense? And then I didn't do anything else. You can do this by hand, but there's no need to. And then after that, I went ahead and I graphed it. So there's the graph. Madison. Yeah, you can use a regular calculator. The regular ones are a little bit harder to see. You can't manipulate them as easily, which is why Desmos is kind of nice since we can use it. Yes. You can have both during the EOC. So here is the first answer. We can't even see it. It is up there. Okay, so the first answer is clearly not right. All right, so definitely not that one. Here is the second answer. Oh, they're almost the same color. So the second answer is looking pretty good. Would you guys agree? Yeah, second answer is pretty good. There's the third answer. Not so hot. Okay. And then there's the fourth answer. That one's not so great either. Yeah, so we're feeling pretty good about the second one that's almost the same color. That one right there. So second answer is it. Okay, let's go on and do problem. Actually, you can do number 11 right now because it's the same as 9. I accidentally put the same problem on there twice. That was my bad. My bad. All right, you can also do number 18. Let's do number 18 real quick. This is a problem where you don't even have to like do anything with your brain. This is just a typing problem now that we know what we just did. So how do we do number 18? We just type. You just got to type it. So take a moment, do some typing for number 18. Anyone remember how you would do number 18 if you didn't use Desmos? The way, what's the way they intended you to do 18? Anybody know? Completing the square. Yeah, that's how they wanted you to do it. Yeah. Completing the square is when you'd move the 10 to the other side. Then you take the 6 and divide it by 2 and square it, add it to both sides. We sure did. Yep. So, but instead we type. All right. Anyone figured it out yet? Yes. Okay. So we graph the original problem. There's the original problem. Is it the first answer choice? No. Is it the second one? It's always the second one, and my color's all wrong. I'm gonna change my colors. Oh, I need to change my color and make it orange. And make you orange. Done. Okay. So now, see, it's the second one. Those are the same. We can actually see them now. Okay. So we've done 18. Let's go ahead and do 19. This one's going to actually involve some more strategy. So 18 was B. Problem 19 is going to take a little bit more strategy to do it, but we can kind of do kind of similar thinking. So on problem 19, they give us x-intercepts at -3 and 2. So x-intercepts are points. Now, Desmos allows you to graph points. You just have to type them in. So how do you write the point where you have an x-intercept at -3? How do you write that point? Negative 3, 0. So everyone type in negative 3, comma 0, like a point. And then look, it shows up. Everyone see that? You got the point, negative 3, 0 now. Shows up as a dot. Everyone got that dot? You guys have the dot at negative 3, 0? Yes? Okay. Then I'm going to do the other x-intercept at 2. How do I type that in? 2, 0. 2, comma 0. Okay. So now I have a dot on Desmos at negative 3, 0 and 2, 0. Where else should I have a dot according to the problem? 312. So let's get my next dot, 312. Okay. So this one, I can't see it. So I'm going to have to, so if you want to shrink your screen, it's just like if you were using your cell phone and you were zooming in or zooming out. So I'm going to squish my fingers together to zoom in. There I can see all 3 dots. I've got negative 3, 0, positive 2, 0, and 312. How do you think we're going to figure out which answer is correct? Type in, and it's going to go through all 3 points. You guys see, feel like today is typing class? It's basically typing class. Okay, let's go ahead and figure out which answer is the right one. Oh, that almost looks right. The first one almost does. Not quite. Well, so the parentheses were apparently good on that one because they went through the intercepts, but the 1/2 is what made it wrong. So I think it's going to be C. What do you think? There we go. Ding, ding, ding. Is it not satisfying to do the problems that quickly? Thank you, Desmos. We love you for who you are. Technology. Aren't you guys glad that you're in a class that's allowed to use Desmos instead of a class that wasn't allowed to use Desmos? Like when they first started the EOC, they didn't have Desmos on it. And now they do. All right. Let's go back to number 5. It's been a minute since we've done these absolute value ones. Desmos can't do number 5 for you. You actually have to know how to do that. Yeah. Let's go back to number 5. Okay. You left your wallet in your car. A friend is texting you to go to the movies. You will need $12.95 for a ticket. You think you have $20 in your wallet, give or take $5. Write an absolute value inequality. What does the word inequality mean? Yeah, not equal to or equal to. It's not an equal sign. Not an equal sign. It's going to have like less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Okay. Representing the possible amount of money in your wallet. Can you afford to go to the movie? Did a bunch of people say no? I feel physical pain right now. You have $20, give or take 5. It costs $12.95. You're in your wallet, which you're gonna go get. Bless. All right. Yeah. All right. If you guys recall, these were always in this form. They always looked like this. Do you guys remember from that unit? It was always in absolute value signs, X minus something. There was a number right here. We always had an equal sign. So we haven't done ones with an inequality. We always had an equal sign, I believe. And then there's a number over here. So we have 2 numbers in the problem that are messing with our chance of possibility. So it says to write the absolute value inequality that's going to represent the situation. So we have to figure out which number goes where. All right. So this number was always the expectation. This number was always how much it could vary by. Okay, so what's our expectation? Our expectation is 20. The difference between what we actually have and 20, the difference between what we actually have and 20 can vary by how much? 5. Well, that's how much it costs. That's not our wallet.
I know, I'm saying, but we think we have $20, but what if we don't have the $20?
This is how much we actually have.
Then how do we know we can go to the movie? We don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you gonna have $20 regardless?
Because give or take $5, you either have $15 or you have $25. Oh. They are in Oregon, so there's no sales tax. Yep. Or New Jersey. Fine, you can go to Oregon. All right. So how much the difference between how much they have and how much they expect to have is going to be less than or equal to $5. That's how much it can vary by, is $5. Because how much they have, it can vary by that much. It can't vary by more. So it's less than. It's less than. The amount that it can vary by is less than 5. Yeah. Because remember, absolute values are always talking about distances. That's why they're always positive, because distances are positive. So the distance between what we have and how much we expect to have, that distance can be $5.
Wait, so do you need to even, oh, you have to write absolute. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna just skip it and say, well, yeah, you can.
Yeah. Okay. Now there's a few of those. They look like little paragraphs. So that's gonna happen a few times. There's no such thing as a cheat sheet on the EOC. Sorry, not my choice.
So, question.
Yes,
We
answer.
like get a passing grade for our overall, but then our EOC hypothetical grade is trash, and then it drops our grade down. Will we
Your
still fail the class?
EOC is 20% of your grade.
So if we fail the class, the EOC, do we have to retake it?
So the EOC is 20% of your grade. So quarter 1 is 40%, quarter 2 is 40%, the EOC is 20%.
But yeah.
So the EOC is going to factor into your grade. It's only going to make or break your grade if your grade is already on the line. Right. Okay, let's look at some problems in Unit 2, functions and inverses. Okay, so somebody remind me, what's the big thing about inverses that we kept coming back to? What was the first step you always had to do with inverses? No, that's at the very end. What's the very first thing you always had to do? No. Flip what? Yeah, you have to trade X and Y. All right, the students who are just continuously talking through this whole thing, you are not benefiting yourselves because the EOC is not an easy test. Okay. So you have to trade X and Y. That's how you find an inverse. The rest of it is all about making the equation look appropriate, looking mathematically sound for people who like everything to be solved for y. Does Desmos need you to solve for y? No, it doesn't. So this is the nice thing about Desmos is that when we are dealing with inverses, all we have to do is trade the x and y and then compare the answers. That's all we have to do. We have found the inverse. So we're going to start with the problem 23, and we're going to be like, ooh, these are nice, easy problems. So if they say this is the problem we have, then we're going to say, okay, the original function is y equals 3x plus 1. The inverse is, what should I do? Trade x and y, right? X equals 3y plus 1. Now for math 3, we would have gone through all the steps to solve for y, but not for Desmos because Desmos doesn't need that from us. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph this. We're going back to Desmos, and we're going to graph x equals 3y plus 1. X equals 3y plus 1. So Desmos has no problem with that. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take all 3 of our answer choices and we're going to graph those. Okay, those are all in y equals form. So for all 3 or all 4 of our answer choices, I'm going to write y equals 1/3 x minus 1/3. And I got y equals 1/3 x minus 1. And I've got y equals 1/3x plus 1. And I've got y equals -3x minus 1. So I graphed the inverse that I found by trading x and y. And then I graphed all 4 of my answer choices. Does that make sense? Make sense to everyone? Okay, so let's just check and let's make sure that we can figure out which one is the same. So there's the original problem. And then green. So the first one is the answer. Exactly the same. Blue and green are the same. So when you have a problem that says find the inverse, are you typing a paragraph from my class? Sam, are you working on something that's not math related in math class? Why? Is that going to help you on your math 3 EOC? All right, so if you have a problem that says find the inverse, all you have to do is trade the x and y and then graph that, graph the answers and see which one matches up. So this one, 23 was A, matches up with A. So let's try 24. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Desmos is, it's an online test and Desmos is embedded into the online test. Yeah. All right, 24. So what should we do? They say g of x is the problem and they want you to find the inverse. What do we do? Say it again. Yeah, switch x and y. So the original problem is y equals 3, sorry, cube root of -x plus 1. So the inverse is going to be x equals cube root -y plus 1. So we're going to go ahead and graph that. So you can pull up the keyboard down here, and I cannot see what's underneath there. What's underneath these buttons? functions. Okay, so the way, I thought there was one for these, but apparently, yeah, the one with an N. When you click the one with the N, does it have a space for you to put a number? Yeah, okay. The other way you can do a cube root is you can click CBR, and then when you hit the T for CBRT, it'll change to a cube root. So I'm about to hit T and it's going to change to a cube root. So CBRT and then it's cube root. So that's the other way to do it, yeah. And square root, if you do it that way, is SQRT. Square root, yeah. So you can type them that way, or you can use the keypad, either way. Okay, so we have the inverse, and then now we can go ahead and start typing the answer choices. So y equals negative cube root x plus 2 y equals negative x plus 3 to the third. Nope. Y equals negative x to the third plus 1. Oh, that's it. Yep. All right, let's look at 32. I want to show you a strategy for problems like 32. Okay, so for 32, they give you two different functions. So we're going to type them in parentheses. So it's x squared minus 1. There's the first function. So we're going to type it like that. X squared minus 1. That's the first function. And then the second function, and see how it says f plus g? Does everyone see that in the first box, f plus g? So I'm going to write plus, and then I'm going to write the second function, 5x squared plus 2. So I wrote f plus g. Does everyone see that? Okay, so I'm just going to show you my paper. So right now, here's f of x, here's g of x, and I've just written f plus g. Everyone got it? F plus g. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna click up here, and I'm gonna click the table button. And this lets you look at X values, table values. It's like looking at a table on your calculator screen, and you can type any X value that you want. 1 happens to already be on the table. So I'm just gonna look at that. The output is 7. So the answer for that one is 7. F plus G of 1 is 7. 7 is the answer. All right, what do we want to do for the next one? What's the next problem? So we're going to do, what's for problem B? F minus G. So we're going to change this in the middle. Instead of having a plus, we're going to put a minus. F minus G. And see, when we do this, all the numbers are going to change. F minus G. And this time, the X value that we're plugging in is -2. So F minus G. And the X value here is -2. So what's the output when you plug in -2? -19. Okay. What's the next one? What does C want us to do? Times. So we're going to get rid of the minus. We're just going to have parentheses next to each other. So F times G. This time it wants 0 of 0. What happens when you plug in 0? You get -2. Okay. The last one doesn't let us use this table. You can try to put a slash in there for divide, but I think when I did it last year, it's going to make us retype the whole thing if I remember correctly. We can try it. Divide. Yeah. Oh. I'm gonna copy, Control C, Control V. Yeah, so we can change, let me try, because there is a setting, I'll show you guys, hold on. So let's type it in here. X squared minus 1, so I'm just typing it in again. There's a setting on Desmos where you can get fractions, oh, but not like this. Yeah, so you're just gonna have to, we'll have to compare these decimals. Hold on, it was this one, but it was 2. So what we'll have to do is type in the decimal answers and just see, or the fraction answers and just see which one gives us a same decimal. 5/22. Nope. 3/22. Yep, 3/22. Okay. All right, are there any questions? I just wanted to give you guys a lot of different problems to kind of give you an idea of how Desmos could be used for some of these. Any questions about how we did some of those? So for these problems, my intention is not that you show your work and that you do them how we've been doing math this year. The intention is that if you know a way to manipulate it on your calculator, you do that. The goal is to get them right. The goal is not necessarily like, oh, hey, I'm doing math, because you've spent the whole year so far learning. Now we're trying to pass the test. Does that make sense? Okay, so if there's a strategy I can show you, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. When you guys do the problems, hold on, let me get signed in real quick. On Canvas, there is a spot for you to submit your answers. And that's what I'm going to be grading. So I'm not going to have you turn in this packet until you're done with the whole thing. So here's the first unit. It says plug in your answers here. You're going to click this. And then I tried to make it as clear as possible. So you're going to put your answers all in here. Does that make sense? Now, I haven't decided how I'm going to do it yet, but it might be something. What I did last year is I took all of these, I called them accuracy grades, and I averaged them out. And then for students who had a test grade that was lower than their accuracy grade for these, I took the accuracy grade and I replaced their lowest test grade with that, as a way of like, hey, maybe actually take this seriously studying for the EOC. So I will probably figure out some way to do that with this EOC review too, of like, you have to do this. It's not optional, like it's required. But when you do it, if you take it seriously and do a good job, and these grades in here, when you submit your answers, if they are accurate because you are trying really hard and studying well, I will make it worth your while to have done that. Okay. Yes, Joseph. It is, you're going to get a completion grade, but there might be an extra grade involved that says if you did a good job being accurate with it, that I will do something else to make it worth your while. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. 32. I think it was 320. Yeah, 320 seconds. People typically on the final get a little bit less than whatever their normal test score is, like a letter grade less than their normal test score. That's pretty typical for a final. Okay, go ahead and start working. Lucas, did you have a question? Well, last year the EOCs were all, everybody got an A. So the EOC, because that's what they did because of the pandemic. And you got an A. You got an A. They were all, but they were all curved to an A. Even if you might have thought you got a C, but they were all curved to an A. If you took it in the fall, the grades were given, and then they went back in the spring and they rewrote the grades, and everybody got an A last year. I promise you I'm right. I promise you. It was a point of contention among the teachers. I promise you I'm right. Yes. Because we worked our butts off to study for a test that ended up not mattering. So it was a point of contention. All right, so go ahead and get started on these, and then let me know. I will help you on these. So let me know if there's a strategy you want me to show you, if there's a problem we didn't talk about, whatever, I will help you with whatever. Yeah. So this stuff, everything we talked about, we are moving on tomorrow to new chapters. So it's a fast review, it's fast paced. So all the stuff we did today, that all needs to be done by tomorrow. So statistics is done, and units 1 and 2 need to be done by tomorrow. Yep. So if you look at it here, it's sampling methods, unit 1, unit 2. This is all stuff that's set for tomorrow. I did the absolute best I could with timing, you guys.